So maybe you're considering purchasing a Strandberg guitar, but you're not quite sure if it's worth that money, being as they're made in Indonesia. In this video, I'm going to give you the answer. The quick answer is, yeah, they're really well-made guitars, they're very unique, and you should probably consider buying one. So in all seriousness, I'll go into a little bit more detail, talk about the pros and cons, and my opinions about Strandberg Indonesian-made guitars. So here on my channel, A Minor Error, some of my most successful videos I've made have been reviewing and talking about the different features of Strandberg guitars. I'll put some links kind of scattered throughout the video so that you can check those out. To date, I've reviewed an OS Original, a Bowden Metal 8, a Classic, and a Fusion neck through. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Strandberg guitars, there's a couple features that are on all of them no matter what. The first being that it's a headless design, so there is no headstock, which helps save weight, makes the guitars more compact, avoids neck dive, and makes them just more comfortable overall just to be standing playing. The next thing is they've got a very unique, weird neck called the Endure neck. I'll put a little link to my video where I discuss the Endure neck and why I think it's really cool. And all Strandberg guitars are also multi-scale instruments. I'll put a little link here as well if you're not sure what a multi-scale guitar is, so you can check that out. I personally got into Strandberg guitars right around the time they were finishing off the OS line or overseas line and then switching to their new Indonesian factory, which is basically where all the current line of guitars has been built. Originally, Strandberg guitars was built by Ola himself, apparently like in his shed with this made-to-measure thing where he would, basically build a guitar that was almost like tailored to the player. Then there was a period where I believe they were made by the Washburn Custom Shop in the United States, and there's also MIJ or Made in Japan Strandbergs. Now those other Strandbergs tend to cost thousands more than buying one direct from the Indonesian shop. So the Indonesian shop helps drive the prices down. I would say around 1 to 2, maybe even 3 grand. I've seen some of those MIJ Strandbergs go for 7, 8, or close to $9,000. So obviously going with an Indonesian one is going to help keep the price down. I personally really love the OS line, which is the guitar that's behind me. It's just a original OS made in Korea. At the time when I was shopping, I didn't want to get an Indonesian one because it came with the Fishman Fluence pickups, which are active pickups, which come factory with a 3-way switch and like push-pull pots, and I don't really dig that kind of thing, and I really liked that that guitar had passive pickups, Seymour Duncans, already wired up with a 5-way switch, and I really like the overall just kind of look and vibe of it, so that's why I went with the OS. Since then, I've played 3 of the Indonesian-made Strandbergs, my Bowden Metal 8 that I still own, a Classic, and then a Fusion neck through. Now, being as these Indonesian-made Strandbergs are mass-produced and they're available for sale both off Strandberg's website but through places like Musician's Friend, there is always a chance of running across a dud. That is gonna happen with anything that's mass-produced. And unfortunately for me, the dud that I wound up with is the Metal 8 that I am currently owning. So the biggest problem with my Metal 8 is that the fretwork is pretty bad, if I'm perfectly honest. There's some really sharp lips and edges on basically each and every single fret. Now, I would not have kept the guitar had I bought it brand new, but I bought it used off Reverb and it was marked down, I don't know, the better part of $800. So I basically kept it because it was a really good deal, and eventually I'm probably planning on taking it to a luthier and getting those frets kind of fixed. Now, I am happy to report the Classic and the neck through that I reviewed were absolutely perfect. There were no cosmetic issues, the fretwork was absolutely fantastic and on the level of my OS Korean-made original behind me. Those guitars were really impressive with their overall fit and finish. And with the Classic really only running you around $1,500, I do think it represents a pretty good bargain. So now that we're about halfway through this video, if you're digging it, please hit like and subscribe, helps my channel continue to grow. Here, A Minor Error is the creative home for everything that I do musically, which is original progressive metal music, product reviews and kind of talking head tip videos like this, as well as free music lessons. So if you're digging it, please hit like and subscribe. And if you get a minute, stop by and check out my new single I released this past November. Plenty of different licks and solos on the OS Bowden behind me. I'll put the little link or whatnot so you can check that out. It's also worth noting that Strandberg hardware is universal across their line. There aren't cheaper bridges or cheaper hardware that they put on their instruments. So if you decide to buy the less expensive, let's say Bowden Metal 8 Classic guitar instead of a Bowden 8 Metal, you're not going to get penalized with cheaper, junkier hardware. With some brands like Ibanez, that's something that you need to kind of look out for. On their more budget instruments, they'll put budget hardware on it. One thing worth pointing out as well is that with all of the Indonesian made guitars, it comes with the base level case, which if I'm perfectly frank isn't a very good case. It'll protect the guitar enough, let's say if you're like just traveling to a guitar lesson, but if you're gigging, you're really gonna wanna upgrade the case. This is one area where a company like Kiesel clearly is the winner in my opinion. My Vader came with the standard Kiesel soft shell case, which is good enough to potentially gig with. The Strandberg one really doesn't offer that much in the way of padding or protection. I would recommend investing in the more expensive, I think it's around $300 deluxe gig bag if you're going to be gigging to really properly protect the instrument. So I've become a little bit of a Strandberg fanboy in the last couple years. I still have my Ibanez and I still have my Kiesel because those instruments have a specific sort of tone that I really dig. But for day-to-day practicing or gigging, the Strandberg just is the best right now in my opinion. The combination of that body with the Enderneck and the headless design, it's just so comfortable to play standing. You really can't go wrong. And overall, I would say don't be scared about them being built in Indonesia. The fit and finish on 2 out of the 3 of those Indonesian-made Strandbergs that I've tested was just as good as any prestige level Ibanez that I've ever played, and pretty close actually to J Custom levels, especially the neck through fusion. That was a gorgeous guitar. It was unbelievably well made, and with that neck through construction, it was just a fantastic instrument. Now the price tag was close to $3 grand, so it really honestly had better be, but being that it's an Indonesian made instrument, you know, really impressed with the overall quality of that.